on Saturday night. You would have noticed, if you were in town and headed there yourself, that an announcement was made that the Abbey Inn in Tralee, an iconic hostelry in Tralee, known by everyone far and wide in Kerry and beyond, had its last ever night. And with me in studio to talk about this is two of the men behind the Abbey Inn. We have Leane Snr and Leane Jr. Good morning to both of you, and thanks for coming in, lads.
It's only weather for the high stool or the double bed.
It is, and unfortunately you won't be able to go to the Abbey Inn for that high stool anymore. Danny, tell me first of all, tell me about when you opened first. 1968.
We opened 1968, and it belonged to Jess Murphy, which played cornerback for Kerry, his mother.
Right.
And they called her Babe Lucid. And she used to open at 6 o'clock in the morning if the canal was in good repair for the logs coming in from Feenit. The big boat used to come into Feenit and transfer over to the lighters, and they came up the canal for the Tralee traders, merchants.
Yeah.
And when they finished unloading,
they'd go in for a few.
Into they used to call it Lourdes.
Lourdes.
A lot of them got cured.
They did, I'd say. And what was it like when you first opened? How did you get into it?
It was awful.
Awful?
If you could spell it, awful.
Yeah.
The roof was good, and that was about all.
Okay.
So I started working in it, and Tess was with me. God rest the girl, which I miss an awful lot. We all miss her. And I started doing it up, and there was a lovely contour ceiling in the front bar. Then there was a tract of land at the back of it, a triangle, which belonged to the council, which I applied to buy it, and they sold it to me. And that was the first extension. And the second extension then was when we moved it out to square it off with the car park. And then the council put up a big plot of land at the back of it, and it went back when the statue was at the back of Wells. So Seamus O'Halloran bought one half of it, and I bought the other half of it.
Okay. And that's how it went.
Yeah.
And you traded away and built up the business over the years.
Yes. We went in for I had a feeling about rock music. It was all ballads at the time, so there was a couple of locals. They asked me for gigs. Clutch would be one of them, which ended up to be a very, very good group. And once I gave Clutch a gig, the word spread, and then we were associated then with...
You became a rock music venue.
Yeah. And I was down at the church one morning, 10:30 Sunday morning, and the priest came out and he was giving a sermon, and he says, times are changing. He says, the music scene has completely changed. He says, there's a lot of places now, they're going in for the devil's music. And he says, there's a place not too far away from here that which is encouraging it. And Tess gave me a nudge. I got up and I went out, followed by her.
You took off.
I did, yeah.
So I'm going to have to sit here and listen to this.
Down the rock music.
Yeah. It's amazing how times change and how things are viewed differently today. And you ended up with U2 in there at one stage.
I did. As the word went out, one of the Dublin bands phoned me. I don't know who they were. And I gave them a gig. I had a mobile home outside opposite Seven Hogs. And the outside groups, they'd come down and they'd set up in the Abbey and they'd play Friday night. They'd take down the mics and they'd go back. I'd give them the keys of the mobile home and they'd stop Friday night, come in, do the gig in the Abbey, pack their gear and go away home.
And that was the way it worked?
Yeah, and it worked very, very well.
They actually put up a very good tweet there on Twitter a couple of weeks back. October 27th seems to be their date around the world. And they put down here, October 27th, 1978, the Abbey in Tralee. And they was up then as far as 2018, and they played in Dublin, Belgium, Brussels, Los Angeles, and it was all on the 27th of October.
27th of October.
Yeah, it seemed to be their date, and the Abbey Inn was number one on the list.
My God, 1978. That would have been one of the first times they would have played outside of Dublin, probably.
That's right, I'd say.
Well, they were going to Trinity. They were students.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, Paul McGuinness was their manager.
Yes.
Took them on board, and he only gave it up 2 years ago for ill health.
Yeah.
But he guided them all the ways along. But I met Ger Hurley, he was his name. He set up the sound for them in 72.
78, yeah.
78. And I met him. He called in to see me about 2 months ago, and I asked him how he was getting on. He said, I'm still with you two, but I have my own company. He says, you two would be playing in Croke Park, so I'd have to have a full stage, lights and everything up for them. Now, they'd be playing Belfast after that, so I'd have to have the same above in Belfast.
Ready to go.
Ready
2
to
sets
go
of everything.
After Croke Park.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'd have to have another one in London.
My God.
I'd have to have the three of them going. Now, when they played London, I come back and I take down
the stuff from Croke Park and move it to the next
to
place.
Brussels.
Yeah.
And he said he had 92 drivers.
My God.
Wasn't there?
He didn't have 92 in 1978?
No, he was very nice. He's only about 4 for 2.
And Paul McGuinness's mother is from Lorrock, believe it or not. So there's a Kerry connection. There you go. Yeah, remarkable stuff. So lads, look, talk to me, and Danny Jr. will talk to you about this. So how was Saturday night, first of all? What was it like?
Well, we kind of had a family and friends. See, we kind of done it very fast. We didn't want to kind of draw it out.
Yeah.
And something that worked out lovely. So we sent the word out to a few family and friends on Wednesday, on Thursday, that we're having a retirement party for Danny Sr. on Friday night, and they were all shocked. So we brought them in anyway, and with a load of friends came in. The word travelled very fast, and it was like old times again. All really good, honest to God people in for a drink. They meant well, and they were sad and wishing Danny the best. And then we told him that Saturday we were going to pull in the plug. Sure, that they were getting out even more, and the place was flooded below. With a great night. We actually done a podcast. It went on for 3.5 hours. I think it finished at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But it was just people coming down, and we didn't
telling their stories, and
it was lovely. All memories, and the friendship that we built up over in the pub over the years is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Even this morning, my wife, she was laughing. We were dropping the kids to school, and one of the barmen, Trevor, his son, Callum, he goes, "Is it true you're closed?" He's only, I'd say, 6 or 7, roaring out the car window. "You should open for one last party." I think, "We'll see you now during the week. You should give everything away for free, and I drink 5 bottles of Coke," and they roll up the window. Like this coming from a 6-year-old. Back down to like it was old school. His dad would bring him into the bar, and he got to know everyone.
Of course, yeah. So great. Lads, stay with me. We're going to talk a bit more about it. If you're reviewing it and your memories of the Abbey Inn, then do get in touch with us in the programme here. You're listening to the Kerry Today Show. We'll have more with the two Dannys of the Abbey Inn after we take these. We're talking with Danny Leane Sr. and Jr. about the closure of the Abbey Inn, one of the iconic venues in Tralee over the last 50 plus years. A few people getting in touch. Padraig Harnett says, "Jerry, the Abbey was like a second home for me when I moved to Tralee to manage the nearby Cineplex. The Leanes are a great family, and I wish them all the best into the future. The late Tess always looked after everybody," says Padraig. Anna says, "Recalled seeing Bono of U2 sweeping the floor in the Abbey Inn. Ask Danny, is this true? Did he clean up after himself?"
He did, but there's a story. There was 2 sergeants creating pandemonium in the licensing trade. One was Jerry Cronin in Beaufort. He warned the publican, which ironically enough was the Guinness agent.
Right.
And the Europe, the Ardnashee, and what's the other one?
The Dunlow?
The Dunlow. They used to doing dinners, and when they were finished, 2:30, they used to go into the Beaufort bar, and the sergeant warned them, tell the lads to park the car at the back, which they didn't. So Sergeant Cronin raided them.
Right.
The other hand, then you're the Cahills, which is belong to Kerry footballer now, in Rossby. He was doing a fantastic trade, and the sergeant came in one night, and he said, "Who's drinking what?" And he took a bottle of Coke, and
that was it. The different way it was treated, a different way it was treated in terms of you were trying to make a living, trying to make a trade, and trying to square with the law as well, I suppose.
But U2's first night in the Abbey, it was packed, and the new Sergeant Cronin, he came in at closing time. I saw the PCAP at the door.
Oh no!
So He said, are you fervent with the licensing laws? I said, I am, Sergeant, but no bending. Everybody like, get him out, get him out. And he looked up at the stage and he said, that goes for that crowd up there too. So I knew he was going to raid the following night. So I said to Bono, if you see the sergeant coming in, grab a brush or do something.
Oh,
and
okay.
you think you're your staff. That's where that story came from.
Ah, so that's why he had the brush. He was trying to keep it ahead of the law.
No, Eamon, don't forget.
Did he play the did he play around? If you could have start playing around the vein, maybe. We're closing up, lads.
Oh, your man was roaring at us.
A couple of more comments coming through. That's where the Bono story is, sweeping the brush to keep well clear of the guards. Best of luck to Danny, Leane and family from Sean Hurley in Killarney of Radio Kerry, who interviewed many of the rock groups and others who performed in the Abbey in the late 80s. Danny was one of the men who ran a pirate station as well in the late 70s and 80s. I wish him all the very best. There we go, Danny. That's from Sean Hurley. And hi, Jerry, the Abbey. Another listener gets in touch and says many brilliant memories of the Abbey Inn, one of the great pubs of Kerry. Sad to see it gone. Tell me about the trade now, Danny Jr. Like the last couple of years, like the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, we've seen a complete and total change in the culture of going to the pub.
But drinking at home now is the big thing. Everybody seems to be drinking at home. Drink is cheaper and the off licenses, they're coming out later. They have more drink taken, obviously. So, I mean, you could go into a bar years ago at 7 or 8 in the evening and you would have a great chat. Now they're coming out at 10, 11, 12 o'clock, sitting down in the younger crowd, staring at their phones. It's just different times.
Yeah.
The younger crowd seems to be more going in. We'd say our trade at the moment, or our trade was, kind of younger people coming in with 18, 90, up to whatever age. But you get them later and later to get into routine then, and it's either all or nothing. You could be jointed or there could be nothing happening. It all depends. They're like sheep.
Yeah.
If you click and you get them all together, it's great. But if you don't click...
And you have to have the staff on every night.
You do, yeah.
You have to have the music on. You have to have all of that. That all adds to your costs. Yeah. And Danny, see, the cost of doing business, is it like the rates, the insurance, the regulation now, the health and safety, is that all a factor in trying to run a business?
Jerry, you have IMRO, you have PPI, they're all music.
Yeah, performance, you pay performance, for that.
Your music, you have...
Mass.
You have the Sky Channel, which is... You can't pay that.
That's for if you're running Sky Sports, you pay 12,000 a year if you're a public house, depending on
your business. And we would have a lot of square footage below, so we were coming into very high end.
So before that's like, let's say you're running on a Sunday now, right? And there's a Premier League match or 2 games on, one at 2 o'clock, one at 4:30, we'll say, right? So to have that year round, before you open the door on the Sunday morning, you have to clear 12 grand for the year before you pay any staff, before you pay any rates, before you any cost of stock, electricity, the IMRO fees, or anything. You have to get that before you get anywhere clear making a living.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the challenge.
And then you have to have it, because if you don't have it, there's no hope of anybody coming in watching it. And then the other side of it is everybody's at home watching them on dodgy boxes. So
yeah.
You can't win.
You can't win in that situation. No. Look, it just got, from that point of view, then you were taking a look at the future of it. What way is the trade going, do you think? Is it bigger? Do you have to be a big major company now with 5 or 6 bars, or do you have to be a chain store or a multinational corporation running licensed venues? Is that the only way, economies of scale, to run pubs, or is it?
You have to have footfall. That's the main thing. And you'd see Tralee now. Tralee doesn't have massive footfall. You go out, I don't really mention it. Tralee's the most fantastic, beautiful town, as far as I'm concerned, in the whole of the land. Yeah. But the only Tralee's problem is it's sitting in between Killarney and Dingle. Yeah. It's Tralee's only problem.
It's competing with 2 very popular, very famous tourist venues.
There's no other.
And you're fighting for.
Like it, in my opinion, around the place.
Yeah.
Well, you go up, like you've Temple Bar in Dublin, you've Ayr Square in Galway, you have Killarney, you have Dingle. Tralee is just sitting in the middle of it, the wrong place.
Yeah. Danny, where do you think the trade is going? The publican trade, the Irish pub, shall we say?
It's going down, unfortunately, because the trends are changing dramatically, and as Junior said, the off sales and the price of drink, which they passed a law that they were going to reduce the
minimum unit pricing. They were going to increase the price of the drink that's sold in off-licensed and supermarkets as per the law. But it hasn't been introduced yet because they can't do it in the north.
Supermarkets where, at the moment, if you pay for your item, in front of you, all naggins, all bottles of drink. Now, under the new law, that all those drinks will have to be kept at the rear of the premises with its own separate till and shutter.
Yeah.
But
hasn't been implemented yet. At the end of this year, I think, but they're slow at bringing it in. That all has an impact.
It has.
It all has an effect.
Do you know what the sad thing is? What it's going to lose most of all is the characters that have been around for years. I remember growing up as a child. I was actually born in the Abbey, as all the rest of the family were. But meeting characters over the years, good, bad and indifferent, and believe me, there's a good mix of them out there.
There is, yeah.
But there's so much good, lovely people out there. And even on social media, to be fair, I haven't looked at it. My wife has been telling me, Facebook, Twitter, everything, it's just stories and everything is well wishes, good stories, thanking Denny and my mother for all the happy years. Fabulous people out there.
People met their husbands and wives, and they interacted. The social interaction side of it, where you, like you said, you go out at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the night. You might be going for 4 or 5 pints. You're home for 10. You have a chat with somebody. You find out about things. You ask someone how they're getting on. Now, the less places we have to meet in a communal setting, the less of that interaction is there. The crack, a bit of the crack has gone out of life.
It is, of course. Everything's gone too serious. So it's all gone passe. People are afraid to have an opinion on everything, but they're afraid as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to get loose and go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Danny Sr., is it hard to say goodbye?
It is. I never expected the goodbyes last weekend. But I'm 78 today, and I want a bit of peace and quietness.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. With the grandchildren, like
you've worked a long life. You've raised your family from it.
Prior to that, I worked over in England. I made some
wouldn't
money
say that work word very easy. He was there, anyway.
This fella, he wouldn't sleep in the house with a shovel.
I don't even know what a shovel is.
But I will miss it. But times change. And they're not changing for the better, unfortunately. So I'll be spending an awful lot more time with the grandchildren. There's 3 of them produced by this man playing with the Narries.
Oh, yeah.
O'Reilly's. I have 2 more, Mandis's daughters. They're playing with the Stacks.
Oh, my God.
Hold on, I have another one playing with Kilcummin.
Oh, my God.
So if they all meet at a match...
Well, you have 3 chances of winning a county final every year. That's the one way of looking at it.
The boys don't play football then at all.
Yeah.
A
couple of comments, good few comments coming into us, lads, in relation to this. Would like to wish Danny and the family all the best of luck. Spent a lot of happy years working there and enjoying the music and the crack in the 70s and 80s. That comes in from Kevin Williams. I remember watching Match of the Day in the Abbey Inn way back when we had no BBC. That's Roddy O'Donnell. Or this person says Roddy O'Donnell ran the show. Great days. Mary O'Brien and family in Knockmoyle would like to wish Danny and family all the best. Mary used to mind Danny and Manus during the festival every year and has many happy memories of the Abbey Inn. Celine Slattery would like to wish Danny a wonderful retirement. He was one of the founder members of Tralee Tourism and always promoted tourism in the town and never missed an opportunity. Loads of lovely comments coming in, lads, for ye and for the Abbey Inn. A Tralee listener says, Jerry, a funny story about Babe Lucid's pub, now the Abbey. It was known as Lourdes. One morning a customer was standing outside the door at 7 a.m. trying to make up his mind as if he would go in. A Garda came along and asked him, are you going to Lourdes? And the man said, no, I was just going to knock.
That's going back a while.
It is going back a while. Trina says, Jerry, all the best to the Leane family. Thanks for the welcome always and some great nights. And Bridie and Damien Jr. Sportsfield Bar says, great listening to Danny this morning, wishing himself and his family all the very best for the future. That's Bridie and Damien Jr. And best of luck to the Leane family from all in Kearns or Alleys. So that's the Narries getting their few words in this morning. Fair play. Lads, look, thanks for coming in and talking to us about it. I know it was a difficult decision, but you've served the town of Tralee very well for half a century. It's an amazing achievement, and I wish you many more years of success in retirement, Danny, and you, Danny Jr. as well. And thanks for telling us your story on Radio Kerry. And by the way, you can check out this interview. It'll be streamed on Facebook a little bit later on this afternoon, and we'll have it on podcast as well. So thanks, lads, and the best of luck.
Lovely. Thanks a million, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. And, fantastic radio station. Your news department or your sports department on the weekend are second to none.
Yep, they certainly are.
Wish Danny a very happy 78th birthday today.
Yep, happy birthday, Danny. Great stuff, and many more of them.
There you go.